Welcome to Lesson 4 in Unit 3, Make It Go. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how do engineers make things? In this lesson, students are introduced to the engineering design cycle. They will review their research and based on available materials, create a sketch of the Galimoto they can build. Students figure out that a problem can be solved through engineering. Students make connections to the storyline by choosing which Galimoto toy they want to build. There are several opportunities for ELA, social studies, and math cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 3 teacher guide. This lesson will take approximately 5 to 6 days to complete. To begin the engage portion, you'll tell students that you are going to revisit the story about Condi. You may wish to reread Galimoto using the Read Aloud guide or use the synopsis in the teacher guide and the Galimoto photos to summarize the story. You may also show the video of a Galimoto. You'll show students the engineering design cycle and tell them that engineers use what they know to solve problems. You'll ask how Condi is like an engineer. You'll revisit the driving question board to add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions about how engineers make things. You can also post and discuss the engineer vocabulary card. For the explore portion, you'll tell students that they've learned a lot about what makes things move, and they are going to be engineers like Condi and make their own Galimoto toy. You'll show students what materials are available for their Galimoto engineering project and explain that these items are to be shared amongst the engineers. You'll introduce the Galimoto Design Rubric student journal page. You'll also discuss why it's a good idea to use recycled materials as well in their Galimotos. You can post the Recycle vocabulary card. You'll have students individually draw their initial ideas on the Galimoto Brainstorm student journal page. For the explain portion, you'll invite students to gather to share their drawings of their Galimotos. You'll use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, how do engineers make things? The goal of this class discussion is to allow students to see different ways that they could design and build a Galimoto. For the elaborate portion, you'll read Rosie Revere, Engineer. Use the Read Aloud guide to emphasize ways in the book that the child character works like an engineer. For the evaluate portion, you'll use the Galimoto Design Rubric to assess student progress on their Galimotos. To support student sense-making across the unit, you'll orient them back to the driving question board. You'll ask, what did we learn about how engineers make things? And what new questions do we have? By the end of this lesson, students will have explained and applied the process that engineers use to solve problems, and developed a simple sketch to represent a design for a Galimoto toy. In Lesson 5, students figure out how the design of a Galimoto toy allows it to be pushed, pulled, and change speed and direction. For the optional extend, students can investigate and make observations about what makes an object natural or man-made or engineered. You can use the natural versus engineered card sort to show students pictures of different objects, and students should decide if the object is natural or engineered and use evidence to support their claims. For more information about this unit, visit mysidepartners.com.